So I saw on the way in there were some people asking some questions about the brand new Savant deck. And so I thought that's where we might want to start off tonight. This is brand new magic. This is not one of those things where there is a whole lot of stuff I can tell you, because this is more of a utility device to use for a lot of different things. But I try to do my best to at least break down what some of those things are as we do this closer look at the Savant deck. So first of all, what is this? I wouldn't call this a single trick. As you can see in the name alone, Savant Deck, which means the deck allows you to do a whole lot of stuff with it. There are things included like any card, any number, 3 different versions, a self-working version. There's a version with the blank deck. You have things with UV lights. You can do things where you act like you are Rain Man, where you could do crazy, incredible math, but you don't really have to. That is on here. There's also a way for you to have someone cut off a certain number of cards, and you can, just by glancing at the group of cards on the table, you can tell them exactly what all those cards add up to if you were to add up all the values, which is kind of that Rain Man situation there. I have some notes here. I'm going to take a look at these. I want to make sure you get all of the things that I had in mind for you here. I'm also going to see if I can play this behind me a little bit here. We'll do that. So this is Lloyd performing one of the tricks from the Savant deck. I want to let you know this is in true Craig Petty and Lloyd Barnes style. There are, I think it just said 12 tricks that you can do with this. I also want to let you know that the instructional is about 4 hours, but they broke it up into different sections this time. Literally, there's different video players for the different sections. This is the one where you're going to see the guy actually shuffling the deck. That's what's really cool about the Savant deck is, while it's a gimmick deck, they can handle it, they can shuffle it, they can give it some riffle shuffles, and then everything happens out of your control. Everything happens in their hands. And I think in this particular version, they are going to cut off some cards or get cards and put them on the table. And then he'll be able to tell them what they all add up to. So he's cut the deck, and I think he's going to deal out some cards once he cuts them off. So another really cool thing about this is you can also literally do what he just did, shuffle up the deck. They go in, they pull out a card, they put it away, and you're able to tell them what card they just pulled out of the deck, almost like you have this crazy memory. So here, in 4 hours, that's yours money's worth for sure. Yeah. And there's also another section in the instructional that has live performances. I think there's full uncut performances of this being used in a couple different ways. So that's also nice to see this used in real time, fully uncut. And this, of course, is one of the things that you're going to be seeing here. So there you go. Eric Elmore, I wonder if the Savant deck will break the 55-piece thread. No kidding, right over the cafe. So if you notice, he just cut off some cards. In his mind, he had him try to cut off a certain number. He counted them down, and now he's shuffling up this packet of cards again. And now he's spreading them out along the table. Very easily right now, Lloyd could turn around, take a quick peek, turn back around, and tell him what all these cards add up to. And what I mean by that is there's different values. There's the number cards. The queens are 12s, kings are 13s, the jacks are 11s. All the other ones are, and then the ace is 1. So all these add up, right, to a number at the end. And just by turning around and looking, turn back around, you can tell them the total that adds up to. Again, that's just one of the things that you can do with it. There are also some gambling routines taught with this that you can do. There's a crazy memory exercise that you're showing that you can do. And he just turned around and told him that adds up to 91. If you were really doing this with someone, there is no way that you would be able to turn around, take a peek, and tell them all that quickly. So it is something that happens in a blink. There's also some magic square stuff with this, which I think is really cool. A lot of people do the magic square by just having a card named, or excuse me, a number named. But now you can do that using the deck and getting the numbers like this made, and then you can do a whole magic square routine with that, which is really cool. Joshua Hill says, from what I understand, it's not marked. I'm not sure how this is done. It is not a marked deck. I will say that Lloyd's handling, he uses hand markings to do some of the stuff. That doesn't mean you have to. He just takes a Sharpie or a pencil and just marks some cards to do some of the things. You do not have to do that. Craig does some of this stuff one way. Lloyd does some of the stuff the other way. So there is that if you want to use it, but you do not have to, and the deck is not marked at all, which is important to note. Let me see here. And again, the deck can be shuffled by the spectator. You saw that at the beginning. And it is a gimmick deck that is going to be specifically used for the tricks that you're going to be doing with this. So if you know there's one of the tricks you want to do from this, then that's what you would use the deck for. And even though you can show it as clean as possible, even though they can handle it, even though they can shuffle it, This is a deck that's meant to do this trick. Now, honestly, if you wanted to do other tricks after this, you could still use the deck, but then the deck is now going to be, you need to reset it again later to do that type of trick again. So technically, when you're performing, you could use the deck afterwards to do some other stuff, but that means then that you totally have to, behind the scenes, reset the deck to get it back to the way that you want to. The other nice thing about this is the deck is set up in a way that you have control over how you want to use it. So it's not just like this is a one way to use the deck. As I mentioned, Craig and Lloyd both use the deck in a different way. And it is a standard rider-back deck. That is correct. It is a standard rider-back deck with the Savant Deck. A whole lot of stuff taught on here from the boys. I had a question coming in here saying, did I think it was worth it? Billy Effner, for $35, I do think that this is worth it. It's also worth noting, and it is mentioned in the crediting, that this is based around a Owen Packard thing from the past. They have built on his original concept. I think it was called the Rama deck, if I'm not mistaken. And not only do they have crediting, but they also show you how they've taken that and now done something different with it. So if you are familiar with Owen Packard's Rama deck, which came out many moons ago, this is building from that, and they do acknowledge that. I definitely think that that's something that we want to mention as well. I know a deck reset can be done quickly with practice. Is that the case with this? Honestly, if you were just going to do the one trick and then you put the deck away and use another deck, the deck would be much easier to reset. It pretty much resets in real time. However, if you were going to use the deck to do another trick, then you would need to go away and set this up, and it would probably take you a couple minutes to do that. This one effect had me stumped beyond belief. Yeah, and I think there's also a way to do the number effect that we saw at the beginning there with change. So basically, if you wanted to have someone do this where the cards end up being dealt out and the values, you have some change on the table, you add up the numbers from the cards and it matches the amount of change that's on the table, which is also pretty neat. So it's a very cool way to get this information to you without them ever feeling that you've done anything, because you haven't touched the deck, you haven't shuffled it, you haven't done anything with it. So there you go. Jim says he ordered his this morning. Thank you, Jim. Appreciate your support out there. So is this a standard or gimmick deck? This is gimmicked. It's a gimmicked red rider-back deck from Bicycle. But the cool thing is, again, they get to handle the deck. They get to shuffle the deck. You can show the deck, and it looks normal, although there's some secret stuff going on. So there you go. Daniel T. Geddes, Luke Dancy would not sell it if you didn't think it was worth it. Honestly, if they had tried to sell this for about $50, I think I probably would have been a bit more reserved about telling you about this. But at $35, I think that the thinking behind this, I think that obviously you're supplied with what you need, and the different type of routines that you can do with it, I think justify $35 very, very easily. So yes, I definitely think that this is something that I could get behind for sure. So there you go. It's not a stack. There is some stuff going on, but keep in mind, again, Billy, the deck is being shuffled. So a deck shuffled by your spectator, they could not shuffle a deck stacked in Pneumonica or an Arison stack. So keep that in mind. Again, they're shuffling a deck. You can't do that with a stacked deck, right? The system involved, it'll make you smile when you see how they've gotten this to work. That's really all I can say with that. Let me just see if there's anything else. What sleights are involved? Honestly, this is pretty much sleight free. Great question from Joshua Hill out there. I'm so glad that you thought to ask that, because I didn't have it on my notes here. I'm actually going to bring that question back up one more time. This is something that even in the ad copy here, it says, powerful magic, 0 sleight of hand. That's the best part. Anybody can do this. Joshua Hill and everyone out there. 0 sleight of hand involved here because they're doing everything. The deck is out of your hands. You just need to know how to do the stuff upstairs, which honestly is very easy to do. So really no sleights really involved here. Will you need a refill or just buy another deck when needed? Yeah, I mean, this isn't something that's going to wear out, right? It's not like RNS. It's nothing like that. So it's not like it's something that's going to be wearing out over time. This is something that as long as you just take care of the deck, and if you want to just use it for one of the tricks from here, the deck will last you for a very, very long time. But there are no actual refill parts for this. It's just the deck itself. And honestly, when you see the method, you may even be able to make your own. So there you go. As David Jonathan says, the tutorial is great. So many clever applications for it. That was the other thing I wholeheartedly believe in, and I mentioned earlier, is there's so much taught here. 4 hours, so many different type of routines. Again, you've got the Rain Man stuff, you got memory stuff, gambling stuff, any card at any number, an impossible reveal of a card, They shuffle the deck, they take out a card, and you can tell them which card they took out and put in their pocket. Magic Squares stuff, which is really cool. The UV light thing, which I think is, again, a very nice touch with this, too. So a lot of stuff. And it's nice to see another pro out there, Mr. David Jonathan, chiming in on that, because I know he's familiar with it for sure. Can you use as a regular deck afterwards? Would you have to switch it? You could use this to do some other things afterwards, but it's not something you would want to continue to perform with just straight up after that. You could do a couple things, but I would definitely recommend that if you want to do a longer routine, or routines, I should say, then I would switch the deck for another deck. But it's not one that you just have to use it and then put it right away, right? Because it is very, very open with what's going on and how free it looks and everything like that. So there we go. Good question. All right. Let's see. Do you need different setups for those different effects? No, really. The only routine that you really need to worry about having a different setup for is the UV light effect, because obviously that requires a little bit of different setup with the UV light going on in a different presentation. But other than that, a lot of these are done with the same method because the system in play makes all this work. It's kind of like the image here that you see. I think this is the Da Vinci thing. This literally in the middle where he is, that's where the system is, and then it branches off into all these other ways. I don't know if they did that on purpose, but that's how I interpreted that, because it is true. You've got this core thing, and then you can do this and this, but it all stems from here, right? So there you go. Is it so easy that Justin's dad can do it 100%? Yes, this is a very easy thing to do. Yes, it is. All right, so I think that'll wrap it up for the Savant deck. But if you guys do want to know anything else about it along the way tonight, feel free to ask. And also thank you for the out there, Steve Zelke. So that's it. That'll wrap it up tonight for the Savant deck mini review. As always, if you have more questions, drop them below.